Hello everyone and welcome back to Water Moon Cards. My name is Luna, and after a couple of philosophical videos I thought it would be nice to get back to some tactile tarot tips. So I have a spread for you today, and it is based in Buddhism, but or I came up with it, I guess, inspired by my Buddhist practice, but it's not really about Buddhism. You could use this for, investigating any kind of third party that you would like to. And what I mean by third party is anyone other than yourself. You could read this with a querent and investigate someone who is not you and not them, but someone else. I also like this for investigating not just individuals, but entities. So institutions, clubs, any kind of like cultural gathering of something. Yeah, I'll explain more about that as I explain the prompts. So as you can see, we have three positions: body, speech, and mind. And these really correspond with sort of the physical realm and aspects for body. Speech would be, what is said, what is communicated. And then mind would be what is actually going on behind the scenes. Or if it's a person, what's going on in their mind, or what's unsaid but part of the culture of that organization. And I like this because it's a good test to see if, for example, someone's actions are reflecting how they really feel, or if someone's speech really conveys their inner values and that kind of thing. It's kind of a confidence test in a way, and also a way to maybe reveal what isn't being said or done through the reading on the mind section. But let's say we have someone and they're looking for a daycare for their child to go to. And they found one, and maybe they visited, but they'd like a little more information about this daycare. So if we just lay out cards that happen to be here in my deck, we do this. So that's our body. For our speech, we have these cards. And then for our mind, say we have this. So what we can do is just do a reading for each one of these positions. Now I've laid out 3 per position. You could do 1 per position, 2 per position, how many you want. I like 3 because I find I can do like a full sentence with 3 cards. And then so you get 3 full sentences and kind of comparing and contrasting. So for the body of this daycare, their actions that they take, let's say, well, we've got Justice, the Fool, and the 9 of Coins. So I'm seeing kind of a daycare that's structured around like open play and really teaching kids how to be fair and how to be kind to one another. But, the tuition could be kind of high. So it might impact the querent's finances quite a bit if they send their kid to this place. Maybe it costs a lot for all the materials and things that they provide for the children. In terms of speech, we have the 5 of Cups, the 5 of Swords, and the Magician. And so what I'm seeing with this part of the reading is that they're really disrupting the status quo. They're really using that open play to, help kids figure out who they are, help them understand themselves, help them be open to experimenting and trying new things, and also help them maybe not fall into kind of outside pressure or cultural pressure, but really explore who they are as individuals and the kind of individuals that they want to be. And this is the speech aspect. So this is what they're telling, this is what's on the brochure. We're going to help your kids develop their unique qualities. We're going to help them, express themselves. We're going to help them figure out who they really are. And then for the mind side, the kind of what's going on behind the scenes, I don't know if you can see all these cards, so I'll just push them up a little bit. We have the Ace of Batons, we have the Moon, and we have the 7 of Coins. So this all looks great up here. We're going to make your kid into a creative, independent, self-sufficient person. But what I'm seeing is kind of less money than what it costs. So fewer coins here than here. Maybe some uncertainty on their own part as to what their own approach is. Like, are they really confident in what they're doing? And sparks of inspiration that it's sort of unclear how they're keeping the fire burning. There's just this one kind of spark of inspiration to keep going, but I don't know if they really have the staff. Like, let's use the visual metaphor. This is a staff. Do they have enough staff and a good enough budget to kind of keep all that going? So the school may actually be having some problems behind the scenes financially and maybe with staff morale or something like that. So to investigate, maybe, I wouldn't necessarily tell a querent what to do here, but if I had this person in front of me, it's like, yeah, they talk a good talk and, they seem good when you visited, but I would maybe pull some of the individual, like junior staff aside and see if they'll talk to you before you commit to going to this place and see what's really going on behind the scenes. So I hope that example makes sense. Let's do one more, and I'll do it out of different cards in a different scenario and kind of see how that works. All right, so that last reading was about an institution, a school, and I think you could use this for anything. You could use this for job hunting. You could use it for, a volunteer opportunity with an organization. You could use it certainly for a religious organization. And actually, I read on my religious organization that I joined before I joined it. And again, I will just throw in the caveat that I never use divination as my only source of information or my only prompt for decision making. I always use other bits of information, but I do like divination for this kind of thing because I feel like gives an extra layer to my gut feeling on a place. It gives me a little bit more detail about why I might be feeling a certain way or why I might be unsure about something. So in this next sample reading, I want to do something that's instead of about an organization, it's about an individual. So let's say Sonia comes to us and for a reading, and she's going to go on a first date with somebody. She's not met this person before. Maybe she's just, exchanged a little bit of like flirting online or something like that, or maybe it's a setup. I don't know. But anyway, she does not know this person very well. She just wants a little more information about this person before she goes on this date. So here we go. So for the body, we get the Queen of Cups, the Papess, and the Five of Coins. For the speech aspect, we get the Six of Coins, the Ten of Cups, and the Nine of Swords. And for the Queen of Batons, for the mind aspect, we have the Queen of Batons, the Eight of Cups, and Strength. All right, so for body, this is interesting because we get two cards that are kind of related. A lot of times I think of the Papess or the High Priestess as having similar qualities to the Queen of Cups. I'm going to say that this person might be like, they might seem warm, but also a little bit quiet, a little bit hard to get to know, and a little bit closed off. They might not have a lot of body language. They might be a hard read, essentially. So, and that first impression might kind of be strong, like, this person's not giving me a lot of energy when we meet up. For the speech, we have the Six of Coins, the Ten of Cups, and the Nine of Swords. So I'm thinking the Nine of Swords is interesting here. It's kind of a frenetic energy, and then this is like a lot of emotion. So I'm thinking that even though their body language is going to be kind of dull, maybe their speech is going to be really emotional and active. So they're going to be more of a talker and less of like a, hand holder or something like that. Or maybe they just talk a lot, but they don't use a lot of facial expressions. I don't know. How would you read this? I'm also curious to hear your interpretation. The Six of Coins is interesting because it's, it's one more than the five. So maybe like a little bit more expressive in their speech than they are in their body language. And then for mind, we get an 8, two 8s. in this deck it's 11, but I like to read strength as 8 no matter which deck it comes up in. So, but we get force, so that's like this solidity, and then an 8 of cups, so that also talks about solidity to me. You know, it's double stability. So emotionally, like in their head, really emotionally stable, kind of pretty confident, I would say. Between these two cards, that speaks to a lot of confidence, actually. So that could be good. Not emotionally volatile, which I think is pretty cool, but also maybe a bit prideful, a bit, you know, they think pretty highly of themselves. So this could be a situation where they just talk about themselves all night and don't ask my client any questions about themselves. But it could also, you know, on a positive side, it could also be, you know, a lot of like give and take and a lot of emotional IQ in this reflected in their speech, like asking them a lot of questions. So it could kind of go either way, actually. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about this, could either be like just talking about myself because I'm full of pride, or it could be I have a lot of like inner confidence. I don't need to prove anything to you, and I actually can focus on you. So, but I feel like it's going to be one thing or the other. It's not going to be really a mix of both. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, which version of this person or which side this person falls on. And I guess that's just going to be something that my client will have to, you know, be open to, and not, and, you know, this isn't meant to like prejudge anyone, but just to kind of see like, okay, you know, this date could actually be really cool, because the other person's very interested in me and they have a great conversation, and, you know, all of that. Or, you know, they're very stuck on themselves and they only want to talk about what they're interested in. So that's just some sample readings with this spread. You know, I haven't used it a ton, but I do think it, again, could come in handy when you're not sure about something outside of yourself, either a group of people or a single person. And I'd love to hear if you use it, what you think of it. All right, that's it for me today. Thanks. Take care, be well, and I'll see you next time.